What's up everyone, welcome back to my channel for another true crime video. Today's video is about a man that targeted one of the most vulnerable groups in our society. David Randitsheni was a serial kidnapper, rapist and killer, colloquially known as the Modimolle Child Rapist or the Modimolle Serial Killer. He terrorized the close-knit community of Modimolle for 5 years during his killing spree between 2004 and 2008. Before we get into it, I just want to give my usual disclaimer that by making this video, I mean absolutely no disrespect to any of the families or the victims affected by this case. This video is purely for educational purposes and to give the audience more information about this case. Speaking of more information, in these types of videos, I usually like to spend quite a significant amount of time discussing the background of the subject at hand, just so we can get a little bit more information and maybe try to figure out what motivated them to commit their crimes, why they chose the specific methods that they did, or any other additional information that might be important to this case. In last week's video, I was unable to do that because of just how old the case was. And in today's video, we are faced with a similar problem, but for completely different reasons. I searched high and low for information about this killer. I scoured absolutely every resource available to me. I even went as far as trying to call the South African Police Service as well as the Department of Correctional Services just to find out more. And I still came away with almost next to nothing. David Randitsheni was born most likely in the Transvaal Boer Republic in either 1964 or 1965. This was pretty much peak apartheid era. At the time of his birth, Modimolle, which is where majority of this case takes place, was known as Nailstroom. South Africa has a very rich history involving colonialism, migration, as well as, of course, apartheid. In the 1860s, during the Groot Trek, a group of voortrekkers known as the Jerusalem Trekkers went on search for the Holy Land. On screen right now, you will see the migration pattern that took place during the Groot Trek. When they came across a wide river that flowed in a northerly direction, they took a look at the maps at the back of their Bibles, and they determined that it was the Nile River in South Africa, at the bottom of Africa. Not far from the river, they came across what they believed to be pyramid ruins, which of course affirmed to them that they were in fact in Egypt. As Dutchmen, they decided to name this river the Nile Rivier, and in 1866 they set up settlements in the town nearby and called it Nailstroom. The pyramid ruins that they had discovered was actually a natural hillock or mound known to the locals as Modimolle. In 2002, the South African government officially changed the name of the town to Modimolle, which comes from the Sotho-Tswana phrase Modimo ole. This translates to the forefathers' spirits has eaten or God has eaten. In 2004, Randitsheni started his 5-year crime spree, which would ultimately claim the lives of 10 innocent people. He had 19 confirmed victims, 10 of whom were murdered, but only one of these murder victims was an adult female, the rest being young girls.
It's scary that this guy used to drink next door to our house. He must have been observing my daughter for some time. I don't trust that my daughter's life is safe, because if he's given bail and still drinks next to our house, he can still do things to her.
Like I said, his crimes terrorized the small village of Modimolle. The close-knit community lived in fear for 5 years as a kidnapper, rapist, and murderer attacked their children. Over 550 DNA samples were tested during an intensive police investigation before, in 2008, a police forensic expert identified 45-year-old David Randitsheni as the prime suspect.
But in January, police arrested a 39-year-old man who later had to be released for lack of DNA evidence. The mood was bittersweet, as residents are still afraid they have not found the true killer.
Because at the first time, the same thing did happen, saying that they have the serial killer, until where else they're putting out saying that the DNA doesn't match anymore. So maybe even the same guy, they would do the same thing, saying that the DNA doesn't match. So I'm not satisfied until I hear that they say, yeah, this is the right guy. It's well, they say this fine. But until so far, I'm not.
Of his victims, 8 of the children's bodies were found in Modimolle's Pachameng village. The cause of death for his victims was never disclosed, and in addition to this not being disclosed, it was also never released to the public the ages of the children, the names of the children, or even the exact dates that they died. On Friday the 16th of May 2008, Randitsheni was arrested in Lwamodo village and he was charged with 10 counts of murder, 17 counts of rape, 1 count of indecent assault and 18 counts of kidnapping. His trial took place in the Modimolle Circuit Court in 2009, where he admitted to his crimes but failed to give any further information about what he had done. I find it really frustrating that Randitsheni continues to re-victimize every single person involved in this case by taking vital information to the grave. The families of these victims can't get full closure without knowing what happened to their children. His silence shows a complete lack of remorse, and this is something that was also stated in court during his trial. Randitsheni had no intention of proving his innocence, and with only 3 state witnesses, the state was able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he was responsible for the crimes he was accused of committing. I do usually struggle to find information about South African true crime cases, but in this instance it was particularly difficult. I have my own thoughts and theories about why that might be the case, but I'm interested to find out why you think that could be so. Why do you think there was such minimal reporting in this case? And do you think it's even important to know about a criminal's background in order to understand their crimes? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments. On the 18th of August 2009, Randitsheni was convicted on all charges and he was sentenced to 10 life sentences for the 10 counts of murder, 16 life sentences for 16 counts of rape, 20 years for 1 count of rape, another 20 years for 1 count of indecent assault, and 180 years for the 18 kidnapping charges, which each carried a 10-year sentence. In handing down the sentence, Judge Roger Claassen stipulated that he could not be considered for parole for at least 35 years, meaning that by the time he was eligible for parole, he would be 80 years old. He was set to serve his sentence in Thohoyandou prison, also in Modimolle, Limpopo, but not long after the commencement of his sentence on the 30th of August 2009, he was found hanging by a sheet from a window in his cell from an apparent suicide. This is not at all surprising considering the prison hierarchy. As a child rapist, a child killer, he pretty much walked into that prison with a target on his back. With a conclusion that doesn't leave us many answers, it does bring us to the end of the heartbreaking case of the Modimolle serial killer. I'm sorry that this video was not as informative as I would have liked it to be, but if you did find it interesting, please do go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you are interested in true crime and would like to see more South African true crime, you can let me know by subscribing to this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.